Today I want to walk you through how I made this product here and whether or not the flavors from the mash carried over into this final product. It was made with the specialty corn we made and toasted a while ago on the channel. How's it going, chasers? I hope you're having a kick-ass week. I'm Jesse and this is Still at the Channel, all about chasing the craft of home distillation and making it a legitimate hobby. About, oh man, maybe 6-8 weeks ago now, we made here on the channel a specialty corn from Gladfield's malted corn. Basically, we popped 4 different batches into the oven and cooked them for different times, and some even went into a pan to get toasted. If you want to know more about how I did that and exactly what it was, you can check this video up here. But ever since I made that corn, I've been very interested, and people have been getting in touch with me and asking me as to whether or not those flavors in that corn would carry over into a distilled product. Now, I did actually do a bit of a down and dirty test to see what flavors the different corns would contribute to a spirit if the flavors carried over. But up until now, I really didn't know what exactly would carry over into a final spirit. So let's get stuck right in. I'll tell you how I made this stuff, and then we can talk about the flavors that are left. The grist consisted of all 4 of those specialty corns, plus some of the standard malted corn, and the rest was all Gladfield Ale Malt, just their standard base malt. I could have, yes I could have, of course, split this into 4 different batches and put each of the different specialty corns into each of those batches, distilled them separately and seen the flavors they contributed separately. But to be honest, I kind of just wanted to go balls deep on it and see if any of the flavor would come through the still. We'll get to that later on. The first problem I ran into is the corn can actually be kind of tricky to get through a mill depending on the mill you have. If you don't have this problem at home, I would be very interested to see what sort of mill you're using and how you're getting around this problem. Basically, comments below, you know the drill. But what I had to do was open the gap on my mill right up as wide as it would go, mix it with the malted barley, put it all through and crush it. That crushed the corn wonderfully. Problem is, it pretty much left the barley untouched. So I had to put the whole thing back through the mill and mill it a second time around. That sorted it out. That entire grist went into the mash tun, and I actually mashed this for an hour and a half, not because I had to, but because I got distracted with something else and I had to leave it alone for a little while. But it was mashed at 65 degrees for an hour. This malted barley from Gladfield's does have a lower potential extract than most other products you're going to use, malted barley especially. So I didn't get to the normal target gravity that I aim for. But nevertheless, it went into the fermenter, and because I had Hornindal on hand, why not, right? Let's throw that stuff right in there. If you don't know what Hornindal is, it's a Kveik yeast, and you can learn more about that in this video up here. But that rips through everything that was fermentable in 4 days. And I tried to ferment at 40 degrees Celsius again, but the weather and temperature and my limited fermentation chamber struggled a little bit. Honestly, it fermented at more like an average of 35 for those 4 days, and unfortunately it stalled out at 1.01. Perhaps a fermentation problem, perhaps unfermentable sugars from the specialty corn. I'm not entirely sure why. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Once again, drop comments down below if you've got an idea on why that might have happened in this case. I still haven't quite solved that problem. But in any case, I left it for another few days just to see if it would ferment out lower, kept the temperature up. It did not go lower, but it did start souring. Once again, I'm presuming that was from the bugs in the mash because I did not boil. The wash went over into my still, and because I only had 30 litres of this stuff and it wasn't a crazy high ABV, I did not want to do a stripping run plus a spirit run, so I just whacked it straight into the 50 litre keg with 2 plates and run it that way. So 15 minutes, full reflux, and then I opened the deflag up just a little bit to allow the heads through at a nice slow drip, and then, adjusted the deflag again and let it rip at about a pencil lead sort of stream all the way through the hearts down to where I called it quits at the tails. Now, I screwed up a little bit on this run, simply because I forgot to adjust my process based on the small volume and the small ABV of the wash, and I think I overshot the cut point from heads to hearts. I think I lost probably about 100 mils, maybe 150 mils of stuff that was probably good product that I could have kept. But in any case, it is what it is. It's definitely not headsy now. After making the cuts and proofing it back down to 55% ABV, I was left with only 800 mils of product, which is what we have here. Now this is obviously straight out of the jar today, so it's really got no oak influence on it yet, but I did decide to whack a rather large piece of oak for the volume into this jar. It is US white oak that has been toasted in the oven at 220 degrees ages ago. I did this a long time ago, but the wood's been sitting around here and I haven't used it yet. Don't know why. It's good wood. Today I fired up the blowtorch though and gave it a really good charring. I think that that's going to go well with this flavor profile. So there we have it, guys. That's what we've ended up with, and I bet you are wondering what this stuff tastes like and whether that corn flavor carried over. Let's have at it. So on the nose, the first thing I notice is the Hornindal flavor profile again. Fruit leather, tropical fruit, and when I say fruit leather, I mean those nasty things you get as a kid. What are they called? Roll-ups and stuff like that. It smells very much like those things. A little bit of pawpaw. This one is perhaps a little bit more citrusy than the last one I did. On the nose, I get grain and I get corn and I get a touch of toastiness, but nothing near roasty or definitely not chocolate or acrid or bitter or anything like that from the really dark stuff. It's so fun. So up front it is sweet and I get all those fruity sort of things going on from the Hornindal and likely from the slight souring in the fermentation, esterification in the still and blah 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 blah. What is fun though is that it moves through that into spicy, almost pepperiness, but not hot and not spiky at all. Moves through into caramel and it's almost like Milo actually. Yeah, it's very similar to Milo. If you don't know what Milo is a malt drink that we have here in New Zealand, and I guess like Europe has it as well, I think. I don't know. Oh, that other place too. What's that place called? The big, dirty, great big, oh, yeah, Australia. I love you, Australians. But here's the fun part, guys. After you swallow, all of the toasty, roasty through to a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of black coffee, all of those things linger and like really grip and stick to the tongue afterwards. So yes, 100%. The flavor from the specialty corn that went into this carries over into the finished product. Is it going to stick around during aging? I don't know. My gut feeling is that yes, it will stick around because it is quite a heavy, dense flavor, and it's not something that feels like a light, volatile sort of thing, but who knows. The mouth feels really good. It's not oily and slick, but it is velvety and full. Yeah, well, that straight up tastes like putting your head in one of those corn bags. And it is kind of an amalgamation of, oh, I've got the stuff over here. This is all four of those specialty corns, the lightest at the bottom going through to the darkest at the top. And the funny thing is the aftertaste pretty much runs through that gamut. It starts down here and just tastes pretty much like the straight malted corn. It goes through the slightly roasted corn and then gets darker and darker and darker until the point where it kind of kisses that coffee and chocolate sort of thing, but it rests more on the full-on toasted, like a deep dark toasted, almost like a sourdough toast actually, something like that. So literally, you know, like I literally mean bread in a toaster. You toast it until it is almost black and you pull it out, and that smell is what is really lingering. Now, is that something that you like? I don't know. That's up to you. I'm not saying whether this is good or bad. I'm just saying that it fucking works. The flavor definitely carries over into the final product. And if this is a sort of flavor that you like, something that you would like in your spirits, then this might be a way to do it. Anyway, team, I hope this is interesting to you. I hope that this motivates you to get out there and try some stuff yourself. If you do give this a go, or you have given this a go, I know a couple of you have, please, please, please drop a comment down below and let me know your findings. Don't take my word for it, guys. Look in the comments down below and see what everyone else is saying as well. I need to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to the Patreons. That's a really disrespectful truck. Sorry, Patreons. Hold on. Now that the truck's gone, you really are the only reason that I get to do this stuff, guys. So your very generous support is very, very appreciated. Thank you. If you people out there in YouTube land are finding value in these videos and you'd like to help contribute directly to the channel, you can go to chasethecraft.com/support to find out all the different ways you can help out. One of them, if it's right for you, of course, is Patreon. So I really, really can't wait to see what happens to this over time. I am so hoping this starts to go, you know, full, almost classic bourbon. I could lose the cherry. I'm really not tied to the bourbon cherry. I'm not a huge fan, but the full-on vanilla barrel candy, I think would go really nice with this. I hope that's what's gonna happen to it. Maybe, maybe not. If you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That helps me out so much. It takes 2 seconds of your time and it costs you nothing. If you really liked the video and you'd like to see more like it, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell to get all the extra videos. Until next time, guys, keep on chasing the craft. See ya.